I think sometimes people leave, get a good start, get moving, get going, and then they go, now what? Because all the stuff we talked about is not absorbed to the point where you can put it into practice. Welcome back, everybody. I don't have an outline. And so one of the things that we're going to talk about is each person, where you're at, where your dog is at. You're going to tell me where you think you're at, and I'll find out very quickly where you're at. Like, it's not hard for us to assess. Chris, myself, Megan, Todd, Wyatt, it's pretty easy for us now to pretty quickly, like we do it at a foundation workshop, pretty quickly. We get an idea of who's doing what to a good degree. And then, we break into smaller groups and we try to pair up people that are going to make sense to be with other people. And so we'll do the same thing here. It's just, now you're in with us too. Because like now I'm going to work dogs. Like that's part of the reason why I love this one. Because I'm not so worried about like teaching you the technique and the fundamentals and the specific little things like that. Now, if you need reminders of it, you're going to get them. That's what we're here for. But I won't be required to be so focused on that. The point of this one will be, I want you guys to see how I train daily in a clearer way than just a YouTube video. Because YouTube videos, as much as we try to make them candid and real and relatively unedited, that's such a snippet. It's such a little piece of it. So you don't see the 10 minutes before we actually film. Like I'll try to explain to Ben and Caden where we're going and what we're doing. That probably is maybe as valuable as some of the stuff that we do in the 30 minutes of the video. But you don't get to see that because we don't record it and we don't edit it in, and there's time restraints and things that we look at. Like, people don't watch videos over a certain length, so we have to be conscious of that. We have to be careful. And so we operate that part of it differently. Then here, you're stuck with us. You don't have the option to like push fast forward, which honestly, I at times think of that. We've become that way. Myself, I've become that way where I go, I just want to skip the intro to this. Like, there's probably people right here that would say, if this was a podcast, I'd hit plus, and about a minute 30 in, we're into it. I do it. Too damn sponsored. Yeah, I don't need to listen to that. So that's, but the reality is like, that sounds good, but it just doesn't work that way. So you're stuck. And then, but what I think by being stuck is, what it does that's positive is, because when you go home and you're bored, you can't hit fast forward either. You got to do all the shit to get it ready. You got to do the planning. You got to do the thinking. You got to do the adjustments if it doesn't work. Nobody else does that for you. So I think sometimes people leave, get a good start, get moving, get going, and then they go, now what? Because all the stuff we talked about is not absorbed to the point where you can put it into practice. You probably left that workshop with maybe a better idea of a priority list, and you maybe picked the right thing to start on and focus on, and you got working on that, and you got better at it. You and I spent some time hold conditioning after your workshop. So you took something away from that workshop and started to put it into practice. And then I even followed up with you on some of it and connected with you. And then the question is from there, did the momentum continue to gain and move forward and pile on in the right direction? Or did baseball start, and then soccer, and then basketball, and then camping, and then business, and then you go, how do I fit all that in with, I want to take these next steps with Hank? Shit. And then you go, and where do I do next? Because I've never done this. These are uncharted waters to me. I remember him talking about it a little bit, but like talking about it and hearing about it and doing it are two different things. It's really easy to then just put pause. And quite honestly, I'm okay with that if you're happy with where your dog is. Like, if you think you're where you want to be, I'm happy. If you think you want to go further, I'm happy. If you say this is the best dog I've ever owned, I don't need anything more, I'm happy, as long as you're happy. But I don't know that very many people that come to this are like satisfied with where they're at and they go, we're good. You're here to do the next stuff. So I want to throw it out right now. I know already, I stood over there in a group as we waited, as people came in. I know already none of us are finished, me included. Those two over there are included in that as well. So we're going to try to assess what's going on where you're at, and then try to help you figure out your next steps plan. And I also will say we're going to push you in this one. Like, we're going to push you to do things. I don't know that I sense it in this group, but I've sensed it before. And sometimes I sense it at Foundation Workshop, where I think people literally come to show me what their dog can do. I know that we see that. Don't you think that, Chris? We see folks that have been involved with, one way or another, usually virtually, our DogBone stuff, and then they sign up because they are excited to come and show me what their dog can do. And I think that's great. I love the idea of it, but I don't like bursting bubbles. There's way more stuff that the dog can do and should do. I think it's great that people are happy with where they're at, but it's the idea of where are the hang-ups that are holding you from your next progression. That's the value of these.